Hi, kids. It's Dan Peña for an additional series of The Godfather. We have a very special guest today, a Hall of Famer that I've known for 11 years, Markus Bauer. We're going to discuss the ups and downs he's had in the last 11 years. Mostly ups, but a few downs, like everybody that goes on business of their own. For the most part, we've had good response to this series. Some of you have always got some smart-ass thing to say, which this comes with the territory. But the insights that you should be able to gather from these people, like prior to Markus today, we've had Bill Murphy, we've had Andres Milner, we've had Thomas McGuire. Thomas is my current poster boy, replacing Josh Kim. And we will continue the series through the end of the year. I'm not sure if we'll be doing it in 2022. Because frankly, not everybody wants to share their up and downs with the audience that follows me in the QLA movement. But a lot of them still do, and so I'm grateful for that. The seminar starts tonight. Tonight's arrival night, and Markus and his lovely wife will be attending the seminar, just like regular folks. I hope they don't drain the blood from him. Although I'm going to make an announcement tonight, not to drain the blood from him, but I make an announcement every fucking night that we have a guest, and they still drain the blood from him, because one of the main questions that is asked is, was it easy? Was it this? Was it that? And even though I tell them not to ask that, they still do it, especially when it's not class time, it's during the break, when he's going to take a piss, or when he's going to get a cup of coffee or a glass of water, and I'm not around, then they leap on him to ask him a question. But he's been very successful. And the joke that I make, which isn't so funny when you're losing your hair like I have, mine's gone, is I knew him when he had a full head of hair, and that I've been making the statement that the people want to know, did he start in the same business he's in now? But we'll get into that. And but we have a absolute treasure chest of information for the seminar. But by the time you see this, the seminar will have already passed. The seminar will have already passed. So this is going to be after the fact. Yesterday, when the market drops up to 900 points and then it finished at 600 or 700 points, this is the Dow Jones Stock Index. I thought it might be the beginning of the black swan, but it doesn't appear that's going to happen right now. One comment I want to make before we start talking, Markus and myself, is that 75% of all the money in the world is loaned commercially out the last 75 to 90 days of the year. So right now is when commercial loans are being made. Of course, our model isn't just not commercial loans, but it's also seller's equity, as we call it, which most people would call seller's finance. But there's a whole lot of opportunities. And just before we went on camera, Markus and I were discussing how the world's flush with money. But the bull market isn't going to last forever. And the sooner you can get your first deal done, the better off. So far, not analysis, but the advice that has been given, which I'm sure that Markus will agree with, is the most important thing is getting your deal done, your first deal done, and then the rest doesn't fall into place, but it makes more sense. Welcome, Markus. Who would have thought from 2010 that 11 or so years later, we'd be sitting in front of a camera like this, or cameras. I fondly recall when my wife and I went out to visit him, and I make mention of the fact that they let me, in addition, he was in the sawmill business at that time, running one of these big, powerful electronic or computerized saws, which I almost broke. And they've got signs all around like this, showing hands with fingers missing. So you should be careful, okay? His brother is standing over my shoulder watching me just every time I'd slam the big powerful saw into something that I wasn't supposed to be able to. It was very cold that couple of days that we were there. And he's come a long way since that. Sally and I were honored to meet his parents a number of years ago. And we had dinner there, and his parents are just lovely people. It's hard to believe that they could have had him for a son, but they did. And it's in the middle. When I say it's in the middle of nowhere, it's pretty much in the middle of nowhere, and it's back in the forest. And I'm sure that unless you were given specific GPS instructions, computerized, you couldn't find it. He's still in Austria, and now he's got 2 or 3 offices, which he's spreading from. And one of the basic reasons that he's coming here is to expose his wife to the QLA process, his new wife, I might add, a lovely girl, a professional, and to make it to the next level. And most of you watching this, I won't say all of you, but almost all of you watching this would settle for what he's done, and you wouldn't get out of bed again. But that's the difference. I mean, there's no such thing as a part-time, high-performance person in my 50-year career. I've never seen that. And I am in my 51st year now of business. And I believe as long as interest rates stay low, and they're historically low now, and the various governments continue to feeding the public with various special deals that they can get money, most of which they don't have to pay back to the governments, we're going to have a tremendous opportunity to buy assets going forward. And we've had this past 18, 20 months of Corona, we've had more exits by the mentees than we had in any 5 or 7 year period, which is saying something. Because there's a time to get out, and not all the mentees have listened to my advice about when to get out. But I would rather be early than late. I'm not telling you all to get out now, but depending on the industry, depending where you are, depending on what you paid for the assets, it's certainly a time to be at least thinking about getting liquid and realizing some of those gains and profits. Because it's better to be early than late, because if you're late, you may never sell because you're never going to have an opportunity again. Well, Markus, thanks for joining us today. You flew in from Austria, and looking forward to seeing you and your wife and the rest of the group. We've got 18 in the seminar group, because a number of them, again, because of the various quarantines, if you're in a red country, etc. But according to what I heard on the news this morning, BBC said, come the first few days of November, they're going to do away with, at least the UK is going to do away with the system of red, amber, etc. And if that comes to fruition, and I hope it does, I'm sure that we'll have the seminars fully booked again at 24. Because of what Sally's done here, and because we've coroned the castle up, the old girl, 550-year-old girl, all the bedroom suites now have their private bathrooms. We've added, 4 or 5 bathrooms. Of course, we've had the pavilion here, and as it's set up with social distancing, etc., we're perfectly poised. We may be one of the few businesses in Europe that was not that hurt. We weren't detrimentally affected because of the corona. And since it appears, as I predicted back in March 2020, we're going to have some form of corona and social distancing or whatever forever. And now they're talking about immunizing, vaccinating 5 to 7-year-olds. And they're talking about vaccinating, they're not talking about it, they're scheduling people over 70, like myself, to have a third vaccination. I've had 2. And it's going to be with us for, ever's a long time, always and ever, but I mean, for a lot longer than we have planned on. And Sally and I just came from a yacht excursion around Britain. We came back a few days ago, and we went to a lot of small ports in Ireland and in Scotland. And it's amazing when you go down the high street, 2 out of 5 small businesses are closed. And when we went to Belfast, and I hadn't been to Belfast, Northern Ireland, in a long, long time, it was quite amazing how the city is not shut down, but the amount of traffic was quite remarkable. Now, in August 2010-ish, what business were you in, Markus?
In the lumber business. With a sawmill, where we bought trees, logs, and cut them to slides and whatsoever. Yes.
The opposite of a tree hugger.
Correct, yes. That was my first given name in the seminar, the tree hugger.
Correct.
From Mikey the pizza boy.
Correct. And then he stayed in that business a while, and then ultimately pivoted into the real estate development that you're in now. Is that right?
Not totally. The sawmill business was converted to a sauna building company right now. And of course, this was very good in the COVID-19 times. We had big gains in revenue and income because everybody wants to have his own sauna at home. And this company is doing quite well. I mean, it's not a big company, it's a very small company. But my brother is the CEO there. I do nothing on a day-to-day business. I'm just overlooking the numbers, and the direction is correct. Yeah. But we're expecting this year about 60% growth in revenue, and we're expecting about, 5 times more income than last year.
Well, that's good. Do you think that business is going to maintain that kind of growth level as Corona subsides?
We made a test, or we requested our customers, and this test said that we profit about 35% of the revenue came from customers which now want to have a sauna, which probably gonna buy or would have bought it later on. So we expect that the revenue which jumped 60%, 35 or 30% of that is because of COVID, which means we are still better than the market. We have a great product, but we will see when COVID is over, whenever it's over. Till now, we still have orders which we cannot produce. We have a total other problem. We have not enough employees. We cannot find enough employees over there to produce the saunas as fast as we should produce them. But still a lovely business. My brother is handling it, and income is fine.
So when did you get into the property development business?
That was basically my first deal, and I count the lumber business as the first deal which I have ever done. I opened it in 2004. So that means I'm entrepreneur since 2004. And in 2011, the signing was I signed it on the 20th September 2011. So means since yesterday, I'm 10 years in the real estate business.
And what was your first deal?
My first deal was just a development project with 14 flats. I had no clue about anything there, and basically in these times, the sales guy from the lumber business showed up in my office and said, we should buy a meadow in Felden. That's a small place in Carinthia, which is, I would say, one of the most favorite tourist hotspots in Austria. It's near the lake, or it's on the lake, at the lake. And he said we should buy a meadow. And I said, well, what should we do there? I mean, what do I do with a meadow? Should I bring cows there? What do you want from me? Yes. And he said, no, we're going to build there some real estate. I had really no clue. And then I started to collect all the figures which were necessary, like the building costs with the banks and so on. And I talked with all of them. And of course, 2010 in October, I guess it was October, I was at my first seminar, QLA seminar here by Mr. Peña. And of course, I knew at this time that I had to change my model, because with lumber business, it was not possible to do QLA. The margin is so small, and there was just no chance. So it was clear to me I had to change. And that was the jump in real estate. In these times, now I have developed it, I have sold it, and so on. We made about 30% on revenue. That means we had 3 million revenue and the income was around about 800,000 euro. That was my first deal.
How big was the meadow?
It's seriously, I don't know more. I don't know anymore, but I believe it's 2,700 square meters. But it's a guess. I believe 2,726 square meters. And I bought it for 672,500 euros. I still remember because I had to keep my hand by signing the deal because I was so afraid of the deal, right? Because I signed it. But at the end, everything was fine. And till 2018, that was my best deal if I measured it in percentage. Not in the total amount, but in percentage, that was the best deal 2018.
How many times have you been to the seminar?
I don't know. I believe at the normal seminar 7 times, 1 time to the hardcore seminar, and this time is the 8th time. Yes.
I used to tease them because I've been in the building business 3 times. Once in Southern California, once in New York, and once here in Scotland. And I always found it tough. And I was competing against big builders that would crush you just to get rid of you and make no profit on the deal, just to get rid of you. And so I wasn't enamored with when he went into the real estate business, but he's done well. He's done well. But as he would tell you, it is not easy, and it's a pain in the ass, and you've got to watch theft every day, employees, you name it. And so although at this seminar we've got, I think, 3 other builders that all think they're geniuses because they've been in building 6 to 8 years, and the market's going like this 6 to 8 years, so they've never hit a speed bump yet. And so it's remarkable. But you know, there's some things that I find difficult. I find difficult when you've got a lot of customers. And you've got a lot of employees you can't keep track of, make them accountable. And when there's a market that is hard to get employees, because in that kind of market, employees don't necessarily feel they have to be accountable as much because they know you can't hire somebody else or they can go find another job easily. And so when you put that all together, I mean, it can be rough. So when you... I know that you've built buildings with penthouses, and I know you own at least 1 or 2 penthouses from those buildings. More. And I told him a couple years ago, 2-3 years ago, that he should get more liquid and go into cash. But I've been crying about the black swan, and people that tease me say Dan Peña's watch. Broken watch is right twice a day. So, so far I've called a lot of markets correctly, and there's going to be a retraction. There's no question about it. Whether it's property, currencies. I'm not going to get off on Bitcoin in this filming, but we've seen them across the board. But the kids that are his age and slightly younger a lot of them believe that the market can only go one way now. It's a new world. We're beyond recessions. We're beyond depressions. We're beyond contractions, retracements, and that's bullshit. That's not, that's what they said in the late 20s when the 1929 crash came. Now I know you're disciplined. I know you're focused. Part of that discipline, or maybe all that discipline and all that focus, comes from your previous athletic career. I find it easier helping kids, training them that have either been one of 3 places, okay? I mean, excelled highly, not just because you took some kung fu lessons. Either martial arts, athletics at a high level, or the military. Some of the combat trained guys like the SEALs and Delta Force, etc.